He's firing up the 40-inch for us. Says the electricity costs about 25 cents an hour. You want me to put this in the back of it?
Move it down.
This way?
Yeah. Or I guess we can just put it behind that cabinet.
Where do you want to go with it?
Right there's fine. It won't get anything there.
Okay. All right. I'll go around you.
There it goes. It's ready for action.
You got to build up hydraulic pressure?
Yeah, it's all it's hydraulic shifted, and like I can jog it hydraulically. So you put it so you've got power rotation for the jog, or you can put it in gear.
Well, that's really nice.
It's got hydraulic brake. But that's 375 RPM. That's like old Lathe territory. This is for NASA. This is aerospace stuff. You know, this is the machine to put the man on the moon kind of deal. So, you know, it can go to 750 with this.
750 with that.
750 with this big chuck, which is
sound like an aircraft engine.
Why it has to have a steel chuck on it, because it would explode a cast iron one. Everything here. This is where it gets good.
Like a jet aircraft engine turboing up.
Kick the phase.
Hit your breaker.
Yeah. Trip the phase converter out. So I don't want to start that big. It's too cold. Also, it doesn't help. I've only got a 40 on here. Got the wrong size breaker and panic.
Yeah, breakers are hard to find on the cheap.
$375 and then every problem with that. Feel the wind out there now. That's 490, so almost 500.
Well, of course, with these large boring bars, you do need the higher speed.
Yeah, I mean that's about the right speed for that.
The copper boring bar, really nice.
See if the cooler's gonna work today. Hadn't been on for a long time, so may have lost prime.
Mine dries out for a while.
That's what I think, yeah, it'll lose prime if it's sitting for a long time. Yeah, it's going.
Now we go.
That's flood cooling.
That's cool. That's raincoat wearing while you're machining cool.
Yes. Doesn't have the best taste. And unlike my other Monarch, this one will run backwards, so that's nice too. Particularly if you're boring on the other side of the board, because sometimes I'll do that because the visibility is a lot better. Particularly on big boards that are long and deep, it can see on the other side where you can't tell anything what's going on this side.
It sounds very quiet running.
So it's smooth. It's
Smooth.
so it stays really true. This machine's in really good shape. A lot of these bigger machines, I see they're all beat to pieces in here
Yeah.
from the use they've had over the years. This one's in pretty good shape.
Where did you find it?
Come out of Ohio. Actually, the tag on it says Stamco on it, and Monarch and Stamco had some kind of a relationship. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I see roller stands that are labeled Monarch Stamco, and Stamco made rollers like slitting stands for sheet metal stuff, and I'm thinking that this machine went from Monarch straight there and worked until they closed the factory in like '05, and all it did was make some roll product that they had, which they had been running a lot of rubber on here at some point in time, because the reason why I got it was because they'd let enough rubber get sucked into the electric motor that the motor locked up.
The carbon black off of it, or?
Yeah, and then you couldn't turn any of it. You couldn't turn the headstock or any of it. It was all locked solid because of the motor being froze.
I'll be darned.
So,
Well, that was a nice find.
yeah.
Motor's the easy part.
Yeah, once I cleaned out the motor and got it back working again, everything's worked. Other than that, other than I had to fix all these switches and stuff, they were all beat up where they'd let stuff smash into them and get tore up over the years. But the standard available hardware fixed the lights for the forwards and reverse, and I'd like to find the horsepower. There's supposed to be a horsepower gauge on here, which is really just an amp meter, but calibrated to reading horsepower, but I'll probably never find one of them. Then you got the inspection window where you can see the lube running in there. But it's a tool room machine, basically. It's got all the features of any kind of tool room lathe. It's got the forwards, reverse, lead screws, forward, reverse. Can do from a half pitch to a 28, so can't cut anything finer than a 28 on here.
You know, a guy that's probably lusting right now to refinish that.
So, and it's got the taper attachment on it. I did a job for somebody turning a Morse taper on a 10-foot bar that they were using.
Just the end of it?
Yeah, I just did the Morse taper part of it.
Yeah.
Taper's a taper.
Well, it's a nice machine.
That's going to be one of my boring bars laying there in the floor for the boring mill, so I'm going to set it up sometime.
Make
shoot
it
up, cut holes to it and everything else, and it'll be a boring bar for doing line boring work.
How long are you going to make that?
It'll be 10 foot.
10 foot. My biggest lathe stops about right here. Yours keeps on going.
Just twice that long.
What length of bed?
16 between centers. Actually a little more than that. it'll do 16 between the chuck plus a little bit. If you run the tailstock on out to where it's actually where the V-ways end on it, you get about 17 in between there.
Wow.
They figured it without any of it hanging off the end. You can see there's almost a foot there that can go off the end of the machine and still be fully supported.
It's a beast.
And this doesn't have it's D16 in the tailstock. The bearings are built into it, so you can put a chuck on this.
Yeah.
Anything D16, which is what my other machine is. The chucks off, it'll just go on to the end there like a lathe spindle. It's nice because it's easy forward reverse, great for tapping. Carlton has the same kind of controls on it. You can forward reverse it, which makes it good for tapping too. The spindle bearings are a lot better than this though than the Carlton. You can bore with this accurately. The Carlton not so much. It's got about 3 or 4 thousandths and then run out. This thing's just got a couple of tenths. Even with it run out 30 inches, it's still.
Is your head clamped to the column?
It does. You pull this lever, clamps it.
Okay, but that's pretty easy. On my planer, I have 4 bolts and 2 clamps, and then just a little work range. With this, you can go up and down.
Yeah,
machining, right?
Right. Yeah, you can mill in any axis, so you can mill cross or vertical. It does just fine. I haven't had any issues with it chattering or anything. It runs really smooth. And it's got dual spindles too. You got.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Up under your light.
You've got a Morse Taper 5 spindle here on the top as well, so you can stick out. But yeah, it comes out about this far. You can run drill bits in it. I've only used it like twice, so which it runs 4 times the speed of this spindle, so you can only get 450 out of this one.
Well, that'd be.
And you can get.
Yeah.
1,500 out of that one, so. Of course, if I put the facing attachment on there, you can't run it anymore. Obviously, it'd stick out into the back of the chuck. That would be bad.
Real bad.
This is a snubber that basically gives you support for the spindle. You can adjust this to
take out the play.
To take out the play for spindle support. Of course, it's got to have some play or you wouldn't be able to move it in and out. So it's not as rigid as the Cincinnati is as far as that goes. You can't take as big a hogging cuts with it, but for most of the repair work I do, we're not doing a lot of big hogging cuts. This works a whole lot better. I rarely get to take big hogging cuts because it's already been machined before I usually get a hold of it. So there's not a lot to take off.
You're doing the precision work on it.
Yeah. I'm fixing what somebody else already did.
I did a straight edge like that not too long ago. Straight edge from hell. Anyway, I think about this machine a lot when I'm doing stuff. And I kick myself for selling my horizontal mill. But I didn't use it that much, and my planer does most of the jobs that it did. And I know where it lives, so I can go visit. Well, that's a hoss.
47,000 pounds of machine.
Well, I was thinking about you as I turned in your driveway, and I was thinking, how in the heck do you get those semis in that narrow driveway?
It'll come through the gate. You just got to know how to drive.
And go to the next county, turn around, and come back through there.
Well, I ain't coming from the direction you came from is the easier way to get in. When you come the other way, it's a lot harder.
All I know
When you
is
come from the south side, you almost take out the sign on the right side of the road, go past the driveway, cut it as tight as you can, and you can just barely get through the gate with a 48-foot trailer.
my coach wouldn't go through that gate.
So
Anyway,
it's just too long to fix axle. That's the problem. Of course, I wouldn't think it'd be that much longer than my KW.
well, I'm about
The KW is 220 wheelbase, and then it'll pull that 48-foot drop deck through there.
well, I'm about 70 feet long with Rock 2 hooked up. So
Yeah, it'd be tough.
you need a little bit of runway.
Probably just the truck by itself you can get through, man. He's not the best with road signs, so he's an outlaw. He kind of just does his own thing. He doesn't pay taxes. He gives it to the man all the time. Tells the government go stick it. He does what he wants.
I'm detecting some animosity towards Bailey from you because he makes you work too much and now you're dissing your dog.
So yeah, so he just does whatever he wants.
Most of them do.
Of course, he's the boss, so I guess that's
Yeah.
what you get to do when you're the boss. You just do whatever you want. So.
He says, I'm a teenager. I can do whatever I want.
Oh, that's right. I have to listen, Dad. You're not my real dad.
Well, you look like you've got lots of projects in the irons.
The mag drill that drilled all the holes in the bridge cranes in there. My Big Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
That was. I've had this all a long time. It was one of the first pieces. I guess that was probably the second piece I got to the Monarch. Was this machine? It's cut miles and miles and miles of steel, and it's also a World War II era machine. It's the first year Johnson made these saws, like 1944, and it's been a good one. And this is my metrology area / assembly / Audi junk right now. So I'm working on getting that all out of here, but
8 foot
yeah,
straight edge.
8-foot surface plate. Got the bars that go in it so you can rotate it over and scrape in the bed on the mill or whatever. I got my 4x6 granite. Over here, it's
Your
my-
shop is like John Ogre's. It's not for fat people to come walking through.
So, my friend, I got this is actually for CNC machines for checking them, but I keep it set up on here because it's a perfect right angle. I got it strapped to the column so I can't get knocked over accidentally. But it gives me a nice granite, true square for checking square on things. I have my Pratt & Whitney air gauge over here for board checking. Got a profilometer here I've never used.
Kind of hard to
That was a recent acquisition, but I haven't even powered it up to see if it works yet or not, but hopefully it does. So that's supposed to tell you the roughness, finish.
surface.
And then there's more Pratt & Whitney special gauging stuff under the table down there. It's kind of where all the squares and straight edges and everything collects over here in the metrology section, which is by the door where it can be checked and then out of here. So,
Gone.
and that's pretty much it of what's in this shop. Everything else in this side, of course, got the air compressors, got the Velvet rebuilt sitting there. That's a big air compressor. And then I got the 85-year-old champion up there in the corner, pumped every day for the last 85 years.
85 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty reliable. I've got one that I think after 12 hours had to put new head gaskets on it. And then you have that.
The best piece in the whole shop, the 15-ton bridge crane.
I've been thinking about your bridge crane, and it makes a lot of sense to have that because basically you can fly anything you're working on over your shop to any place.
Yeah.
That is nice.
All of the junk on the floor does not become a hindrance. You don't have to move
Right.
everything because you can just go over top of it. But the more important thing is that it goes over top of every machine tool's table in here.
Right.
So when you're working on the stuff that I work on that weighs 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 pounds, you can easily pick it up and sit it wherever it needs to be without getting yourself killed trying to use a cherry picker. Because that was the way it went in the other shop, was constantly lifting stuff that weighed 2,000 or 3,000 pounds and trying to get it up on the mill table with a cherry picker, which doesn't work well anyway because the legs want to hit the mill
hit the
before you
bottom.
can get close enough to put it up there, unless you run the beam way out, and then it wants to flip over the floor. So that was the whole thing about building this shop, was that it was going to have a bridge crane over top of every machine in it before I ever did anything, which is why it's built the way it is, and why if it gets expanded, it's just going to keep going out that way, and why if you look at the back side of the building, the runways actually stick out the end of the building so that it
Bolt
will
onto 'em.
continue on and just keep going down, and the same crane will be able to just keep going.
Well, I didn't notice that your hook has pretty humid. It's been raining out here, so the lens is a little foggy. I'm sorry. But I noticed you have a, what is that, a weight?
There's a scale on there,
Scale?
yeah.
Well, that's handy and all get out.
Yeah, we can see how much that steady rest weighs. Pick it up. Of course, that thing, you know, the markings on it are thousands of pounds. So
Bailey, can I get?
It goes. The first number on there is a 5,000.
So 5,000. So everything weighs 5,000 pounds.
50,000 pound scale. The heaviest anything I've had on was Monarch, and you can see where the red line is there. That was where it was. So it was right at 38,000 when I picked it up.
It is a lot.
So just slightly over the 15 tons that the crane's rated for, but the reality is that was what it was rated for before it got cut down. So it technically can hold 50,000. What it would really safely handle. All the steel in here was all designed for 50,000 when I built it.
Well, this is what we're going to do right now. I brought him a
Steady rest.
little steady rest.
Folks don't fit on the Monarch.
Oh, it'll work. It just
Might need some tweaking, but I think it's going to be real close as it is.
well, the price was right.